All right, welcome back to episode 2 of Statement Games Live. I'm Nathan. I'm joined with Mark, CEO of Statement Games. What's going on, Mark? How you been doing?
Hey, how's it going? Been a little bit of a crazy week, but hey, we're here. It's episode number 2. We're on a
Yes, indeed.
streak now. We can officially say that we are on a streak. We got episode number 1 wrapped up, put a bow on it. Currently live. We got some pretty good feedback. We're still working out a couple different kinks, but we're here. It's episode number 2 of Statement Games Live, so I'm pretty excited.
Nice, nice. Yeah. So, hey, let's do a quick overview of what Statement Games is.
Sure. Let's give a little bit of a recap. Can't stress this enough here. Statement Games I can't stress this enough. It's just a game. Statement Games has created a little bit of a different form of daily fantasy sports. What we do as a company is we create games around individual sporting events. We'll talk about it a little bit more in the show here, but this Sunday night, we have a great game between the Vikings and the Seattle Seahawks. So what we do is the people want to play our game. We're going to present you with a list of about 60 different props, hence the company name Statements, that are specific to that individual Sunday night football game. It's your job to review the list, pick out 10 props. So anything from Russell Wilson over under 265 yards passing, Vikings defense over under 2.5 sacks. You're going to go through this list. You're going to pick 10 props. As you make your picks, you're going to start ranking them in order of confidence from 10 through 1. As that sporting event plays out, if your number 10 pick becomes correct, then you get 10 points. If 9 through 1 are incorrect, well, now you just have a total of 10 points. You're going to play in a league this week specifically. It's leagues of 12 people, and the individual with the most points from correct picks at the end of that specific sporting event wins. The game in general, whether you're playing that game or any game on the Statement Games platform, they're all free to play. You're competing for what we call Statement Games coins. It's your job to acquire a coin balance with as many coins as you possibly can, and when you're ready, you want to exchange those coins for a cash gift card of your choice. We'll talk more about a reward system as we get deeper into various different episodes of Statement Games Live. But as of right now, there's probably about like 80 to 85 different retailers that populate the Statement Games reward section. Nike, Under Armour, Amazon, Google Play. You simply exchange your coins for a cash gift card of your choice. So you should be listening to us and enjoying the show here because, hey, you know what? I can't think of another sports gaming platform that's on the market today that gives you the opportunity to play sports games that are fun for free. But even though that they're free, they're still giving you, or we're still giving you, an opportunity to literally win some cash. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of a recap, and we'll continue doing what we're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a great show. And one of the biggest things is, at the end, we're going to give you a full, lineup to use. We go through and talk about the game, and it's a great opportunity to see it in action. And, we track ourselves. So, you're liking the show, Mark, right?
Yeah, I'm liking the show. Hey, this is what I do. I'd be pretty remiss if I asked other people to like the show and I didn't like it myself.
Exactly. So if you out there are liking the show, make sure you are subscribed to the Statement Games YouTube channel. Also like the show, comment on the show at the bottom. Where we can you can comment about what you like, what you don't like, what we can do to improve, as well as share it out there, help others find us and get to the show itself. So with that, Mark, you had an interesting topic to talk about today.
You know what? It's pretty crazy, and just to kind of give some guys or the viewers out there a little bit more of like an insight on what I do on a day-to-day basis in terms of marketing Statement Games and getting the name of the company out there is hey, look, you know what? We have to push the marketing envelope consistently. So I'm constantly on social media. I'm networking with other podcasters and blogs just to see if there's little joint marketing things that we can do with one another that's cost effective and mutually beneficial for everybody. And as part of that, I was recently on a podcast called 27 Down. Great guys. If you have a chance to check them out, I know on Twitter is their primary account that they use. It's simply at 27 Down, CAST. That's how you would actually find them. It's a baseball podcast. They're a little bit more specific to the New York Yankees. And I was on their show this past Friday, and recorded on Friday, and we were actually talking about the upcoming Tampa Bay Rays versus the New York Yankees playoff series in baseball. And obviously, we had Game 1 this past Monday. So in an effort to kind of like, stimulate interest in the product of Statement Games and to get people kind of like, playing here, I might kind of like, go off the cuff a little bit and put together like these offers to see if, people would be interested to take advantage of it. So one of the things that I actually do is I encourage people to play the game. Like I said here, it's free to play. And the little twist that I put on it is that people who have the ability to go 10 for 10 with their picks, I'll come to the table with an additional incentive. So on the 27 Down podcast, I talked about how I would come to the table and give somebody $250 cash if they happen to go 10 for 10 with their New York Yankees versus Tampa Bay Rays Game 1 Statement Games kind of like, picks. And the reason why I actually do that here is, hey, look, you know what? The odds are in my favor to actually ask somebody to take a look at what essentially is a bunch of 50-50 propositions, and where the average can go one way or another here. The odds of somebody going 10 for 10 is hard, but that's not to say that it doesn't kind of happen. So as I was making that offer and leading into this past Monday night's Game 1 baseball game, when we were looking at the scoring at the conclusion of that game, because Stanton had hit that grand slam in the 9th inning that pushed the run total over 7.5, there was actually 3 people, not one, but 3 people who hit 10 for 10.
Wow,
for that
that's
game.
amazing.
So not only
hard to
it's
do.
not one person, but of all the contests that we actually run here, we actually had 3 different end users go 10 for 10 with their Statement Games baseball picks. And I was ecstatic that as a Yankee fan that the Yankees won here. I was a little concerned that I now had to shell out $750, $250 apiece to 3 different users. So I just want to give a quick little shout out to the people who actually won. I'm not going to actually say their names here. I'm just going to read off their Statement Games usernames, just because I don't necessarily know these people, and I'm not sure how comfortable they would actually feel in having their names right out here. But congratulations to username Eric Talks Sports, Brett05, and BXPRJ. Those are the 3 people who wind up hitting the 27 Down podcast Statement Games promotion. And congratulations. And although I'm kind of out some coin here, hopefully it's a good experience that I was able to give some people here, and to continue having fun with something that's just a different form of fantasy baseball.
Yeah, absolutely. And wow, what an audience that podcast must have. They keep them very informed to be able to pull something like that off. Because I've been involved with you for going on 2 years now, and I rarely see anyone hit that 10 for 10, and 3 in a row, 3 in 1.
I was definitely leading into the football season. I was pushing kind of that offer in the various different shows that I do. So. For those who are actually watching this, it's at Statement Games or at Mark Salino. That's our Twitter handle. You might want to follow us, because every once in a while you're going to see us tweeting or somebody else kind of putting something out there about how I appeared on their show, and I've given them or their audience like a special deal or an offer. When I do things like that here, I don't push it out to my base here, because I just kind of feel those types of offers. It's not about us and our base here. It's about kind of helping the partners that we actually work with grow their brands and introduce their brands to our audience, and vice versa here. So look, we have a great team here at Statement Games here. We do a lot of research in terms of finding up and coming and just people putting in the work and putting out kind of great shows. So when we do these types of things here, we do it for a reason. It's because we see an opportunity and we see value in somebody just like us, somebody who's up and coming, and we think they're putting out a quality show. And we wouldn't recommend them if we didn't think that you guys who are watching this show and playing statement games wouldn't find value or have fun with the product that they're putting out.
Oh, absolutely. And, one of these shows will get into how our relationship started, because it was along those lines, and it was just a matter of, just that initial contact, and then, hey, man, here we are doing a podcast together. But
and just even segue into what you were kind of like I was saying before here. I mean, look, everybody says it, but we really appreciate it. I mean it. Drop a comment in the box here. Maybe there's some type of incentive or prize that you would like us to, potentially run here. I mean, if we have the means and it's simple and easy, we're more than happy to do it. You're going to find through this show and through the interactions with Nathan and his company, the IDP guys here, whether it's, cash or NFL jerseys or T-shirts, kind of like, hats. I mean, I don't really think that there's anything that's not within reason that we're not willing to try here. So if we're missing the mark on something and we're, hey, you know what, coins are nice and like playing kind of like for the gift cards and things like that here, but it'd be great if we can play for, drop a comment on whatever you think that for is, and hey, this is how we get better.
Yeah, absolutely. So speaking of, what you do with statement games and everything, let's transition over into the statement games feature of the week. This is an opportunity for us to go through and talk about one aspect of the app, the website, whatever it is that we want to kind of dive in deep. So what do you got for us this week, Mark?
Yeah, sure. I'm going to keep it kind of simple, and this will kind of be a theme as we run into the promotion that we're doing with the IDP guys and kind of like what I'm talking about right now. But as part of the special promotions that we do and put out here, we do look to award prizes, whether it's hats, T-shirts, NFL jerseys, Major League Baseball jerseys here. So we do look to give those things kind of out. So in an effort to kind of facilitate that process, we do kind of encourage people that when they log into their Statement Games account, whether it's the app or the website here, you can kind of see a button at the top navigation bar that's called My Account. So from within your account, you have the ability to set up and create a profile. And if you click that button kind of right there here, we strongly recommend that you fill this profile. We don't sell data. We're not sharing kind of your data. Of course, the information you're seeing right here is fake, so we're not looking for anybody to kind of bombard Nathan's account here. But by filling out that kind of information, it helps us streamline the rewards process a little bit more, especially if we have to go ahead and mail something out. So simple, it's easy. If you're a member of Statement Games, we're just checking out for the first time here. As you explore the system or as you go into the system and make your next set of picks or play your next game here, check out the My Profile section and go ahead and set up a full profile. Have a little bit of fun with it.
Great. Yeah. No, awesome stuff. I, have been using this for a while. So you see, I had some coinage there. So yeah. It's all fun. So let's get into now. We talked about this a little bit last episode on how you wanted to take a section of the show and kind of dive into something in gambling, like sports gambling media or business media or whatever. And so we dubbed it here Mark's Truth Bomb. So
yeah,
let's go with it.
Yeah, so without fail, this happens every single time there's a significant part or there's a significant, sports gaming or gambling point that's actually raised, or if there's something that's kind of like, big in the form of an acquisition that takes place. I get a series of questions just for people who are networking with me on LinkedIn, or maybe our current investors on the Statement Games, theme, or maybe it's just, people who, I don't know, just ask me, random questions. So kind of like without fail. So I believe, was it late last week? But at some point like last week, that deal between Caesars Entertainment and William Hill was finalized. The deal in which Caesars agreed to buy out William Hill. And I believe the sum was $3.69 billion was the final kind of sale price here. So whether it's a deal kind of like that, or whether it was like a couple of months ago when what was it? It was Penn Gaming had made that significant investment into Barstool. Whenever things like that come up here, I'll get asked the question, hey, what does this mean to Statement Games? Or does this kind of like, mean or give you guys more of kind of like, an incentive to get more involved into the gambling kind of like, fray here? And the answer is always the same. It's going to continue to kind of be the same here. It's not like we're looking to alienate a gambling, a revenue stream or a gambling model. We're as a young company, we're just not ready, and it doesn't make sense for us to incur that additional cost, whether it's legal, regulatory fees that need to be accounted for, to try and turn the Statement Games product, which is still a work in progress. I mean, we're releasing new features around the product pretty much like every 2 or 3 weeks. Some of them are subtle, some of them are very noticeable. But it's not like we're trying to alienate or ignore the gambling part of like the market here. It's for a variety of reasons as to why we're doing what we're doing. And the biggest one that I want to point to is the fact that, and we've seen this through data that we've collected and through certain polls that we have done just with the members who are coming onto the Statement Games platform. We ask people questions. I'm constantly interacting with our user base here, and I just know for a fact that as of right now, you want to chalk it up to people just not being educated enough, and where they're just not gamblers. They're just not ready to place money, hard-earned money, on sports props. If you also take a look at what's going on with COVID-19 and the economic uncertainty that's taking place within the country. We have a big political election that's currently coming up right here. So there's political unrest. So for a variety of different reasons here, we know that 40% of casual sports fans, for whatever reason it may be here, they're just not ready to fund real money gaming accounts with discretionary kind of income. And we feel it's that demographic and that's market that's dramatically being underserved. We don't see a lot of products that are being released into the gaming space that addresses free to play and addresses the casual kind of gaming market. A majority of the products that we actually see on the market now, they're gambling related products or have some aspect of gambling intertwined with their service, whether it's sports books like Picksdraft, or the online gaming casinos such as FanDuel, DraftKings, William Hill, pick one here. All of these particular services require an end user to fund some type of an account in an effort to really take full advantage of all the products and services that we're doing here. So for those kind of reasons, regardless of the great activity that's taking place in the gambling space, we know that there is an underserved market of casual gamers or diehard sports fans who love competing. They're just not ready to, fund accounts with money here. And we feel that our product addresses that market and will continue to address that market.
Nice. Yeah, no, it's very interesting stuff to see kind of happen and kind of come up, but it's also great that you're maintaining your spot in the sphere and keeping this free to play game alive and not trying to pull money out of every nook and cranny that's coming around. So
but that said, it really is kind of like interesting. And look, I'm not here to give stock tips or investment kind of advice here, but as part of doing what I'm doing here, I'm always kind of keeping my eye on the industry. And if you are following the space here, I mean, Caesars, the ticker symbol is CZR. They're currently traded on the NASDAQ. As I look today, as we record this show here, stock market probably closed a little while ago, maybe like a few hours ago. I believe Caesar closed at $55. I think it's $55 and literally like a cent is what the trading price closed out here. There is a gaming analyst that I do keep my eye on. I'm not necessarily going to give my opinions on whether he's picking home runs left and right here, but if you do kind of follow the space, keep an eye on a guy by the name of John Decree. He is a gaming kind of analyst from an investment perspective here, and he just put a buy signal on Caesars at 100. So he initially had a forecast of basically the stock, before the trade going, basically going in the 50s range to I think he had a buy price, up to about like $60. So he's actually just increased that to from 60 to 100. So it's just an interesting tidbit. It gives you an idea of what's going on in the space here, what the opportunity kind of represents, and if you're into that type of stuff here, it's something that you might want to just jot down in a notebook and keep your eye on.
Nice. Yeah, I will say stocks, not so much my game, but what is my game is making picks.
All right.
So here we go. Let's get into the meat of the show. First, a little shout out to our sponsor, IDP Guys. You can go and find them, idpguys.org, on Twitter at IDP Guys. Obviously, it's near and dear to my heart. This is where I come from. I am the CEO of that company, and it's your go-to place for IDP, individual defensive fantasy football. And we've got a multitude of content, premium data, tools that are in development, tools that are there for you to go and win your leagues, win your fantasy week. So definitely go check that out, idpguys.org. We're in the same boat as Statement Games, kind of building ourselves up, and we've got a lot of exciting stuff coming in the very near future. So, but with that, let's transition over to Sunday's game, the game we're talking about today. It is the Minnesota Vikings at the Seattle Seahawks, and that'll be the Sunday night game. So what I like, what I'm seeing in this game is you've got the Seattle Seahawks, who are currently undefeated after 4 weeks. They're averaging between 30 and 40 points a game. And on the flip side, you got the Minnesota Vikings, who have not the impressive record that Seattle has. They're 1-3. But if you look at those games, they're in every single one of them. They lost one game by a point. Kirk Cousins is doing what he can to keep the games close, or keep the team in the games. But I really from my perspective, I'm looking at this as a Seattle win. I think this is going to be a high scoring affair. I'm waiting to see. I really want to know if Chris Carson gets back on the field, because I believe he might have. I think they're saying it was a concussion that took him off midway through the last game. So I think if he's there, it's even greater chances of a very solid Seattle win. But Russell Wilson is, not someone to count out in a game like this. He can run out of the pocket. He can make incredible throws. He's going to get it done. And so that's, kind of what I'm seeing in this. But before we get into the actual making picks, we went through this last week. Mark, why don't you give us the recap of what our picks did last episode?
Right. So I don't want to brag, but I am going to, because we made our picks last week here. So for last Sunday night's game here, I am kind of on record, and I squeaked it out, but I was on record of taking the Philadelphia Eagles, San Francisco 49ers over under total at under 45.5. So I hit that one. I wound up taking the Philadelphia Eagles plus 7.5. And the other third one that I actually liked was the fact that with Deebo Samuel's coming back, and although they didn't talk about here, a big part of that thing here was Kittle's coming back for San Francisco as well. So I like the Kendrick Bourne and Trent Taylor under 80.5 combined receiving yards here. So I end up hitting on that here. So I'm definitely on a bit of a roll coming into, I guess, technically week number 5, but our actual week number 2 of making picks, if you want to call it that here. Not so bad yourself here. A couple of things that came up, but I got you for, let's see here. I had you for San Francisco. You actually liked the 49ers plus 7.5. You had Robbie Gould over 1.5 field goals, and McKinnon over or a half of a touchdown. So we have to score a touchdown in order for you to hit that one. So that's what we're actually looking at. We'll continue to keep tabs and do a quick recap as we move into our featured game of the day.
Mm-hmm.
In this case
absolutely.
here, it's the Sunday night game here. Same thing, right? So hey, look, you know what? It's the whoever plays this game, in addition to the coins that you actually win, just like last week when somebody or a couple of people won a few $100s here. In this case, there will be a winner, right? So somebody is going to win an NFL jersey of their choice if they choose to play the IDP guys Sunday night football game on Statement Games between the Minnesota Vikings and the Seattle Seahawks. The way it works is the Statement Game system will fill up contests up till 12. Once that 12th person hits, that contest will come off the board and a new one will populate, and we'll run as many of those different contests as we possibly can up until about 5 minutes before kickoff. And then once the game starts, we'll have a list of contests that have been generated underneath that framework of that tournament. And the individual contest winner who outperforms all of the other contest winners within that Minnesota Vikings, Seattle Seahawks tournament is going to win a Statement Games jersey of your choice. But all you're going to do is win a contest and you're winning coins. And in fact, all you're going to do is finishing first, second, and third in any contest, and technically you're a winner on the Statement Games platform. So that's a quick little overview of what we got running. That's a little bit of an additional incentive in addition to the coins that you can win on the Statement Games platform. And for this game here, I'm kind of in alignment with you here. I'm looking at it from the perspective of when I am always looking to make some type of gaming or gambling pick here. First and foremost, I never ask a team to do something that they've never done before.
Mm-hmm.
So looking at the fact that the Vikings are 0-4 against the spread in their last 4 trips to Seattle. Of course, they don't play Seattle every single year, but it's just something funky that I'm looking at here. And then from the Seattle perspective, I'm looking at the fact that they're 6-1-1 against the spread in their last 8 games as a home favorite. So for that, and then you also combine the fact that, my opinion, it's a better quarterback up Seattle. Team's on a roll. Coach has them, playing hard, playing well. They're coming back home here. So as we make our picks here, I'm in line with you, and where my picks are going to be, they'll have a couple little twists, but I'm in agreement that I think Seattle wins this game.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, Seattle is a great team, especially this year. Russell Wilson is an MVP candidate for the season so far. Like, he's in the running. And yeah, I think this is going to be, I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I definitely put this in favor of Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks. So Mark, why don't you give us your first pick and we'll slot it in.
Well, we're on the top of Russell Wilson, MVP candidate, playing well. So I guess the way that it's going to work here, I'm going to make the first pick, but you're going to have the option of slotting this pick in the empty slots here. So in this environment here, you and I are playing as a team. I'm not exactly sure what contest number that we've joined here, and we'll review this next week here. But you and I are physically trying to kick the crap out of everybody else that we're playing against, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So with that in mind, look, so far Russell Wilson has already thrown for 1,285 yards this season. He's averaging 321.25 yards per game. When you just take that number divided by 4, I understand that a couple of games on the road, it's a little bit different from the way he plays at home here. But if we're just taking a look at the deviant, 321 versus our line, or the line that's on Statement Games of 315, I feel that I'm getting a little bit of a break here. So my first pick will be Russell Wilson over 315 yards passing.
All right, I like that too. I think I'm going to put this one in. I'm going to put this one in at 8. I'm high on it, but I think that there might be a couple things that are higher.
Okay.
So with that, I'm going to start off with. So, like I said, I like Seattle, but I also think Minnesota stays in it. If you go back through the games, both teams are averaging between 30 and 40 points a game. Obviously, Seattle more so, as they're actually, undefeated right now. But Minnesota's had, losses, bad beats of just like 1 point where they scored 30 points. The other team scored 31. So I like this to be a high scoring affair. So I'm going to go with, where are we here? Total points over 57.5. And you
All
tell me
right.
where to place it.
Let's just leave that right there at number 10.
Perfect.
And although we're giving a lot of praise to Russell Wilson and Seattle, and I actually agree. I believe this game goes over. I feel that there's a lot of points that are being scored here. But I disagree with you in a little bit of a sense here, and where I don't think that this game is close. I believe that Seattle kind of covers the spread, and I believe that they put up a lot of points. I believe that they put up a lot of points, kind of like a lot of points by midway through like the third quarter. So with that in mind here, I feel that Seattle will have a cushion as they get into the later stages of the game. As they have kind of like a big cushion here, it's more about ball control and running the ball here. So I feel that Russell Wilson is throwing the ball like a lot less. So although I feel that he puts up over 315 yards over the course of the game here, when you're taking a look at that completions total, a completions total of 27.5, I'm going to take that as an under. Russell Wilson under 27.5 completions, because of the fact that I think that they'll be up significantly as they get towards the later stages of the game, which results in them throwing the ball less and playing more of the ball control game and running out the clock. So I would take that as my second pick, and let's see where you slot that in at.
So I'm going to keep that right at number 9 because I fully agree with you that Russell he's also just the type of quarterback that he can get it done with his feet, so he doesn't have to throw as much. So that kind of takes, some of his needed completions away. And then also, he gets up early in games and can kind of ride it out in the run game. So 100% on board with you, and I really like that pick in number 9. So I think this is where we got a little bit of a contention because I see this as, Russell Wilson getting up and then Minnesota Vikings having to throw to keep it close. And we kind of discussed this a little bit before the episode. So I'm actually going Seattle under the spread, under 7.5.
And look, we're playing as a team here. So although I don't necessarily agree with the pick here, I'm going to be now rooting for it because we're playing as a team. We need to beat the other turkeys that we're actually playing against. So just because I differ from that, let's drop that down to the number 6 slot.
All right.
But I'm sorry. Let's go with 7, the 7 slot. We already populated font, so I'm sorry. What we got here? Let's go with the number 5 slot.
5 slot. Gotcha. Got
there
it right
you go.
Here.
The last possible. There we go here. But I do kind of like that premise, which is the segue into my third and last pick here, because I see Minnesota trailing the game and having to throw or being behind the game here. They're going to have to step back and throw the ball a lot. Obviously, they're trying to get back into the game here. So, of course, as you throw the ball more, you're giving the defensive an opportunity to put a lot more pressure on the quarterback. So because throwing the ball a lot more, trying to get back to the game here, great opportunity for the Seattle Seahawks defense to tee off on, hey, Kirk Cousins is not necessarily, Lamar Jackson or Russell Wilson in terms of mobility here. So as my third pick here, I'm going to lock in on the Seattle Seahawks defense over 2.5 sacks.
There it is. All right. And I like it right there at 7. I definitely, as an IDP guy, I know that the Vikings, the Seattle Seahawks have an amazing defense and definitely have that ability to come in and just rock a quarterback. And Kirk Cousins, like the perfect candidate. He's one of those old style QBs, does not run much at all unless it's running for his life. And, he's very firm in the pocket. So I think that Seattle can definitely come in and knock him down a time or two. Actually, at least 3 times is all you need here to win that one.
We just need three.
Yeah,
we just need three.
So with that, I'm gonna go. This one's a little bit on a limb, but I really like this guy, Justin Jefferson, for the Vikings, has come out in the last couple weeks and kind of exploded a little bit. He had a great game 2 weeks ago, even a solid game last week, and he's working his way into a offense that just lost Stephon Diggs in the offseason and is really trying to find its identity. And at 4.5 receptions, that's a very low number for Justin Jefferson to reach. So I like right there Justin Jefferson over 4.5 receptions in this game. So with that, we lock it in, right?
Lock it in. I think we're good. Yep.
There we go. We locked in that. We have our statement games contest all set. As you see it, it's really kind of going along the lines of Seattle dominating, it being an overall high-scoring affair, and we even got like the kicker in there and everything. It's really cool. I'm looking forward to seeing how we do this week. But with that, we are we're closing up for the episode. Make sure you sign up at statementgames.com. You get 60 free coins just for filling out your form and getting in there. Enough for you to get into the IDP guys Sunday night sponsored contest. Make sure you're following us. Mark is at Statement Games or at Mark Solino. I am at Nate Cheat on Twitter. And then subscribe to the show. Make sure you're subscribed on YouTube, Statement Games.
And we'll drop all this fun stuff into the comment box and things like that. And if you are looking for Statement Games, just keep on. Statement Games is all one word. So social media, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, at Statement Games is where you're going to be able to find us. So it looks like that's it. Is that it? Number two
that's it for this week.
Books?
Number two, we've got it. We're getting better at this, and I think
there's a lot of pressure on us here now. We got to continue our I guess
a streak of
putting up some good picks. Though you might need a little work here, but I'm doing all right.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Mark. We'll see you next week.
All right, Nathan. I'll catch you next week.